when I was thinking through in my 15 minutes with you all what I wanted to talk about, I really wanted to focus on, as much as we all want to move forward, which I'm all about doing, instead of going back, we're moving forward. You can't help but reflect on all of the hard work and the craziness that happened over the last 17 to 18 months. So I wanted to spend the first part of my presentation talking about that. And I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with Glennon Doyle, if you've read her books or listened to her podcasts, but one of her mantras is, we can do hard things. Are you guys familiar with that? Anybody? I know there's some people familiar with it, yeah. And this mantra, we can do hard things, it's really helped me in my personal challenges and in my professional challenges. Because when you're faced with something that's really hard and it feels insurmountable, you kind of develop this mantra of, we can do hard things. And I was wondering, I'm like last minute driving up here, and my team will appreciate this because I've changed this presentation a million times, but as I was driving up here, I coincidentally was listening to a podcast where Glennon Doyle was talking about this. And she had a person call in and say, oh, I love your slogan, I can do hard things. How do you get up every morning and say, I can do hard things? It's so awesome. And Glennon was like, no, it's not I can do hard things. It's we can do hard things. It's this collective statement that together we can do hard things. And man, as I look back on everything that you all did, and your teams did, and your volunteers did, and our vendors did, to get through these last 17, 18 months, there's no doubt about it that we can do hard things. And so certain groups of people come to mind, certain pockets in our community that, man, if I had to think about who was really, really working hard, there's a few categories that came to mind. The first of which are our frontline workers. Our frontline team, man, frontline took on a whole new meaning during COVID. These are the people that were getting out of their beds and actually driving to work every morning, where a lot of us had the luxury of staying home. These are the people that were dealing with those ridiculously long drive-through lines, dealing with scared members, angry members, dealing with masks, no masks, being the front line to interact with your members and watching and hearing these stories. There's no doubt in my mind, our frontline workers, they can do hard things. Then I thought about other categories of people, and this group comes to mind. Our HR teams. I don't have enough time to talk to you about all of the challenges our HR teams had to deal with this past year and continue to deal with staffing issues and everything. But trying to keep their team members safe, trying to keep them with PPE, dealing with remote work, dealing with unemployment compensation, dealing with people testing positive, dealing with people being compromised, trying to keep people at remote work, in work, staffed. I can't even go through all of it. But there's no doubt in my mind when I look back and think about our HR teams, they can do hard things. And then I think about our IT teams. These people are so in closets and behind closed doors, I had to use a stock photo because I don't have any pictures of them. I don't know who these people are, but all I know is that some poor IT person, several of them, got a call something like this. Hello? Oh, yes, within 2 days, we need 70% of our team to work remote. Okay, bye. What? I can't even imagine. I hear a clap. Do we have IT people here? Anybody out there? All right. Good. I can't imagine not only getting the equipment to these people, helping them. You can't even go stand by their desk and help them when they're like me and can't figure out how to turn something on. But not only that, but what about the security issues? All of the data that's going on. It blows my mind to think about it, but there's no doubt in my mind that our IT people can do hard things. And then I think about our CEOs and managers. Now, I know, just being in this industry for over 20 years, that we have a compassionate group of leaders. But over the last 17 to 18 months, talking to them and hearing their stress and worry and sadness and trying to keep their credit union teams healthy and their members served and dealing with all of the different issues that they've had to deal with, the worry that they have had and demonstrated for their teams just blows my mind. And anyone that managed anybody and continues to manage people during this tough time, there's no doubt about it that they can do hard things. Sorry for all the golf photos. That's usually when I see people this past summer. We're all out, we're outside, but it's a great group of, you guys all know it, a great group of people that can do hard things. And then I think about our volunteers. Volunteers out there, anybody? Anybody at credit union volunteer, our boards? You know, yeah, absolutely. They probably had a lot of those Zoom calls that we saw at the beginning. They're used to coming in every month, seeing their CEO, having their board meetings in person, networking, talking to one another, going to education events. This turned on its head for them too. And they were there trying to support their CEO during this crazy time. There's no doubt in my mind that our volunteers, they can do hard things. And then I think about our MCUL team. One slide ahead. Oh, this is a slogan I love too. And I love the credit unions that got t-shirts that said, I am essential, or we are essential. Because you're damn right, our credit unions were essential and continue to be essential. And that's no secret to us, but now we got to announce it to everybody else because we stayed open and served the communities when some other businesses closed. So we were there and you guys were there for your people. And then I think too about our MCUL team, working harder than they've ever had to work to support credit unions, waking up every day asking themselves, how can we support credit unions today? How can we help them figure out SBA PPP loans? How can we help them find PPE? All of these issues, and our team works so hard. So reflecting back on the last 17 months, there's no doubt in my mind, your amazing MCUL team can do hard things. So then I got to thinking, what does it mean to be an association? We're your association, but what does that really mean? What do we do as the Michigan Credit Union League? And so I started to see the different words that come with association: cooperative, relationship, connection, consortium, alliance. These are what your association is here for. And as Heather got to talk about, our 4 pillars of what we do for you and with you. And that first and foremost is advocate. We advocate with you and for you every day. Every day. And this came true even more so over the last 17 months. We work with our credit unions to remind lawmakers and regulators who credit unions are. Why are we different? Why are we who we are, and what are we doing out in our communities? We can't do that without your support. And even over these last 17 months, as Heather told you, we had all of you guys coming to these Zoom calls, still raising PAC dollars. We had some amazing PAC fundraising happening even during this tough time. So thank you so much for recognizing how important fundraising is and advocacy is. We started working with credit unions that have CDFI certification. We put together a group because we remind people how credit unions support their low-income communities. There's some issues about overdraft, whether we should be able to offer it. And we're constantly reminding lawmakers with your support why these types of products and services are important for our members. And of course, our tax status. You don't think about it all the time because it seems like it's okay, but we have to constantly keep beating that drum. Well, maybe credit unions over $1 billion should be taxed, or maybe credit unions that have bought a bank, which we know isn't what's actually happening, should be taxed. No, no, and no. So it's up to us with you to advocate on your behalf, and those are just a few of the things that we talk to lawmakers and regulators about on a daily and weekly basis. And then educate what we're doing here, putting on great events, whether it be in person or virtual, to get everybody together, to celebrate, but to learn and to hear about what's going on in our industry. Our amazing education team, they couldn't do any in-person events last year. Everything had to be pivoted to virtual, and they put on over 50 virtual events for all of you. And so what are they talking about? What do we continue to talk about in education? Of course, all of the things that you need to know, but diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've heard from a lot of our credit unions. They want to understand what that is, why it's important, how they can take up that charge at their credit union. So we've had sessions on DEI. The team even put together some sessions on anxiety and how your employees can deal with anxiety during this difficult time. So all sorts of topics that we have for you from an education perspective, and they continue to put on these awesome events. And we've recognized that virtual learning can work. It can definitely work, and so we're going to continue to do a mixture of that. But I think as you all recognize, sometimes nothing beats getting together in person. So we're going to continue to push forward with that too. Another big focus for us is inform. How do we inform you what's going on? Everybody is so inundated with so much information. We all get so many emails. So as far as communicating, we start with our website, and we try and really just bring that down to the important things that you need to know. Our communication teams worked really hard to kind of streamline some of this information for you. And our team received national recognition for their COVID resource tab on our website, really pulling out all of that information. We had a team of people poring over all of these executive orders that kept flying out to really dig into how they impact credit unions and talking to you about it. We have our Michigan League Minute, which comes out every 2 weeks to, again, just really pull in that important information. We have our CEO calls, which launched during COVID, and we're going to continue to keep those. We have CEOs and executives joining us on a Zoom call. We did it every week, then every other week, and we're doing them every month now to really collaborate and come together and to see what everybody's doing. We have the podcast, Credit Unions Coffee and Conversation. Some of our great board members have agreed to be my first guests on this as I kind of figure out the whole podcast world. But the point of these is to really let you get to know some of our credit union leaders in a professional and in a personal, fun way too. We try and keep them casual. And I thank you for everybody that's been a guest so far. So hopefully you guys are listening to those. And then another cornerstone of what we do is awareness. You saw the impact of those stories. I'm sure every one of you watching that video was just like so moved by it. And what's the point of those? Of course, it's to celebrate what you're doing in the community, but through our See You Link and our awareness campaign, pushing stories out like that to Michigan at large, to our lawmakers, to our regulators, to potential members, it's huge, the impact that this campaign can have. So thank you for your support every year as we push out well over $1 million in media to remind people in Michigan that credit unions are here. And we pivoted that campaign to deal with COVID. If you might remember, we had a great message that was read by Mitch Album to talk about how credit unions are still here. We're still open, we're still here for you. Having our own campaign like that really allows us to put the Michigan messages out there that need to be heard. Oh, maybe credit unions aren't technically savvy, or they don't do business loans, or they might not even do mortgages. We dispel all of those myths through this campaign, so thank you for those that contribute and participate, and you can see the amazing work our team does to put these videos together. We had some help in our awareness campaign from Forefront. I don't know if you guys saw this billboard coming in, but it welcomed everybody to the AC&E, so thanks, Forefront. And of course, compliance. Any survey that we do that asks credit unions, large and small, what their big focus is, it's compliance. And our job at the League is to navigate what sort of compliance support you need. Smaller credit unions need different support than larger credit unions. Everybody needs the advocacy that happens when we meet with regulators. So we do that for you as well. We develop tools. League Info site is a huge resource for our credit unions that you have access to just by affiliating with the League. A lot of great compliance resources there. Of course, our partnership with CUSG, that Strategic Advisory Solutions, working with that team, they're so awesome. They help us with our helpline, and they're so responsive and can really help, especially some of the smaller credit unions that might not have a full-time person on staff. So we're always looking for different tools and ideas, and you're going to hear some more about that over the next couple of days, but it's a huge topic for us as well. And we also support the compliance group. There's well over 200 Michigan credit union compliance people that are part of a consortium, and we work with them to get speakers and to really support all of your compliance needs. I can't not talk about our amazing foundation. Heather talked about it a little bit, the amazing work with all of your support that the foundation is able to do. The grants, the financial wellness, that's such a huge issue, the financial education. Over 4,000 teens have been educated with the financial education programs through the foundation, and that's through you working with your schools. Last year, they couldn't go into schools, so they worked on an app, a virtual app, to help teens learn about managing money and saving money. It's a phenomenal program. And I know the foundation works really closely with our young professionals. Do we happen to have any young professionals here in the room? Anybody? All right. So we had a a scholarship available for some young professionals to come out and network. And young professionals, if you're not listening to that podcast, I really ask a lot of questions with you in mind. I ask all the guests, what would you tell to an up-and-coming credit union leader? What would you tell to somebody just starting out in their career? And there's some amazing answers from people who have been in the industry for quite some time. So check it out if you're not. But our foundation, thanks to our credit union, our chapter, our vendor and business support, is something that we're so proud of at the League. And we know that you guys work really hard to work with them on grants and support the foundation, so we really appreciate that. So when I think about we can do hard things, it kind of comes back to that. You've seen a lot of examples of the hard things that we can do. But it's not just a matter of we can do hard things, it's that we're stronger when we do them together. Thank you very much.